I'm a good side.
There isn't one, but all right. All right, fans. Blerd together here with Jerale Clebourne right here at Heores Convention. He's all the way out of Lynchburg, Virginia. Phenomenal writer. Been writing comics for years, independent in the game. Worked with several of current artists. Tell me, what should people who don't know about you know about you? What would you like for the fans out there to know about you and your craft?
So first off, I love writing. I mean, that's the number one thing. I love writing. Doesn't matter if it's just writing novels, writing comic books, short stories, like screenplays. I love writing. I love telling stories. I love sharing stories with people. It's and when it comes to like writing, I love pretty much every genre. My ultimate goal is to write one of every genre, including a love story. But that's it. I get inspired by people like Peter David, love Peter David, people like Michael Crichton, people that have done so much. Ray Bradbury is a huge influence on me and my writing. I love that. So, and just being able to tell all kinds of stories. Fantastic.
Okay, all right. So I need to ask this because for the fans out there, because you're a POC nerd of color. We like the term Blerd.
Okay.
As a Blerd, what has been your most positive experience in the culture, and what has been your most negative experience in the culture?
So within like the industry, like whether it be comic books or just the overall writing entertainment industry.
Yes.
I think the most positive has just been here, just coming to Heroes Con, meeting people, and I'll tell you. I'm going to drop a name, right? Not because I'm like, oh, I want you to tell this. Just because I think it's important to just kind of demonstrate just how great people can be. Here in Heroes Con, I sit behind the table, right? And people don't know me. I'm really small. I'm like indie independent. I'm not over there in like indie aisle. I'm like here at a table. A lot of people don't know me. They walk right by.
You're the Chance the Rapper of the game. So
yeah, it's like, yeah, pretty much. Except for I haven't blown up like he has, but. The professionals around here, right? The people, the big names, they treat me like I'm one of them. Bill Tucci has, when I see him, he's like, hey, he just comes shaking. He's like, how you guys been doing? I mean, he did that from like the first day I met him. He acted like he'd known me for years. The very first time I came to Heroes, right? When I hadn't been here for like 15 years. I just came here scoping out. I didn't even have a table. I was just walking around. And I met Brandon Peterson, stopped and talked with him, told him who I was. I gave him a copy of my book, and he treated me like I was professional. It's like, and we've had that relationship. We're not like best friends. We don't talk all the time and everything. But every time I see him, it's this relationship. It's like, you may not be where I am, but you are still within this whole great industry,
Right.
And I think that's wonderful. And other people around here do the same thing. It's like it's not a matter of levels. Like you're like, oh, I'm on this upper level and you're on this lower level. It's like we're all part of the same craft. That is like the most positive experience for me here. It's like everybody just treats everybody as the same, no matter who you are or where you are in like your stage of like the entertainment. Negative experience. Negative. I don't really have a negative experience. Things I don't really care for, right? But as far as a negative experience goes, I can't really say I've had one. The only thing I would say, and I think we're seeing more of it now than we maybe saw like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, is that indie people really haven't gotten their due. I think it comes in waves. You go back to like the early mid 80s, right, when indies was blowing up, when you had things like my man here loves like Cerebus and stuff like that. But he was a small thing. You got Turtles, you got all those things, Flaming Carrot, The Tick, all those kind of things. They were big on the indie circuit. I mean, even someone like Jim Valentino. I actually had the very first, well, that's the very first stuff. I had one of the early comics he did, which is self-titled like book, Valentino, right? Before he was anybody, before he was Shadowhawk, before he did Guardians of the Galaxy, all that stuff, right? But he had a name. He built himself up. And then when you hit like the 90s, when like these big names came up in Image, who wasn't an indie thing, it started out as like a huge company, right? Mm-hmm. It kind of waxed, and then now we're getting back to where people are really kind of getting to indies. Like, you don't have to be a big name. You tell a story. We want to see some of those stories. We want to see that there's more out there, and you see that as far as even like the creators that are out here. You see more of different types of creators from all walks of life, and you have tons and tons of women creators now in this industry. Where I think we really I'm not going to say that they weren't here before, but maybe we just didn't know about them before. And there's a big surge in that. And like I said, that's what, if you wouldn't say a negative, that would be my only, I said, I don't want to call it negative. That would be my only like thing that I would say I don't like, is that there's still a lot of people that haven't kind of gotten into like the whole indie thing to say,
Right.
it's not just like these 3, 4, 5 major companies. There are other really good stories out there from people, and it's slowly building. But we may hit a peak part where it's going to like kind of wane again. But if we can just keep that on everybody's level and just hit a nice plateau, say indie is here, that's it. Like I say again, it's not negative. It's just one of those things that just it's a constant fight. And sometimes when you're constantly fighting, you get a little tired.
I understand that. Okay, so next question up here on the list. As a writer, I know you've collaborated with several artists here in the Charlotte area for Heores Con, but is there anyone who would look forward to working with in the future? Who would you like to collaborate with on a project?
What I like to collaborate with on a project. You know what? I have big names that I love, right? But honestly, I don't have someone that I'm dying to work with, As long as I can tell a story and, and I've got an artist that shares my vision, I don't care. I don't care what level they're on. I mean, for me to say, I wrote this book that was like drawn by like Ed McGuinness or Jim Lee, who's like one of my favorite guys, or it's like I got a cover by Alex Ross, right? I mean, that'd be great, but at the end of the day, my story isn't really about like, who drew it. It's about the overall story. And as long as I have the best person that really captures that story, right? I think that's really it. Again, love to work with some big names and stuff, but to me, it's just like the best artists. And I still love those guys, and I'm not saying I would, that I would turn them away if they want to work on something with me. But I don't really have like a dream artist. It's just whoever. I got some like dream collaborations. Like if I want, I'd love to work on like a book with like Jim Starlin's a writer or whatever. But as far as like artists goes, anybody that want to work with me and shares my vision, I want to work with them.
Okay, quick question, because I know you're a nerd, and you answer off the top of your head: Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Perfect.
But let me caveat that, all right? I got to caveat that with that I know Marvel more. I used to be a diehard, back in the old days, the comic books that make mine Marvel. I was like, you're damn right. And then I got to like the 80s, and I started getting more into like it was Mark Wolfman, George Perez's New Teen Titans, and that pulled me into the DC world, especially when they did that. They had that Teen Titans X-Men crossover, and I started getting more into that. And the other book was like Creature Commando, way back in the 80s, man. I read that and I was like, DC, weird war tales and stuff. But I still feel like I know Marvel more. I love DC. I love DC characters. Right now, I'm reading Deathstroke because I love Christopher Priest and I love Deathstroke as a character. But I feel like I know Marvel more. And it doesn't mean I love DC any less, but I just feel like I know that universe a lot more.
Right. So let the fans out there know what's coming up for Jerale Clebourne, and what do you have working on that's about to be released? What projects do you have up that they need to know about?
Okay. Well, that's going to be a lot. So I did out of the 4-issue kind of anthology series, The Gun, that I did with Creature Entertainment. I did issue 2 and issue 4. Issue 4 is currently in the works right now. And unlike all of the other books in it that are just kind of each one's a self-contained story, kind of about this gun. Issue 2 and issue 4 are actually have the same characters in it. It's issue 2 or 4 is a continuation of where issue 2 ends. We pick up like 10 years later. So I've got that that's currently in the works. I was actually just talking with them about some other projects. We're going to be working with my man Micah here on maybe 3 or 4 projects that we're talking about. We've got one that we've been discussing for probably about the past year or so. So it's going to be called Sugar High, and I'm going to get my man Wally to do some extra stuff in there as well. So it's Sugar High, and then we've got another project that doesn't quite have a name yet that Mike and I are going to be working on. Wally and I are going to be working on a couple books. We've got some things we're kind of hashing around, and I think the next thing we're going to move into is probably going to be a story I pitched him called Down. Can't really tell you more about that, but it's going to be really nice. Wally's already worked on the logo for that, and we were hashing out some more ideas about that last night. We're going to come back with another volume of Fairy Tale Nights. When we did the first one, because that was a project that took like about 3 years or so to really kind of finalize. As we were working on it, I started putting together ideas for like the second book. And so we're going to start working on that maybe later this year. We've got a couple other things that we're going to be touching on. A book called Equations, and then I'm dropping the name of the other one, but we've got that as well, and so that's kind of where I'm going to be. And I'm finishing up my second novel. So I did Rise of the Storm, which is under my pen name, but I'll be finishing up my other book, Unwanted Heroes, and I'm working on that right now. I'm hoping to have that finished hopefully by the 1st of September. And then I'm going to send that to a couple of people, just kind of get some early thoughts on it. And while I'm doing like the rewriting phase of it, and then I'm looking to have that ready for production probably about December time.
Okay. Well, how will the fans get in touch with you? Like, what's your contact info? Do you have any websites up? Facebook, Instagram, anything like that?
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook, just my name, Jerale Clebourne. You can find my website. It's currently in the stage of remodel, but it's still up. It's going to be mindsedeyechronicles.com.
Mindsedeyechronicles.com.
Yeah, so I'll put a lot of stuff on there. Actually, Unwanted Heroes, I was actually posting that regularly on there. Again, those were like the early kind of rough draft chapters, but that's all the way up on there, all the way to, I think, chapter 43. There's short chapters, about 6 to 10 pages. I think up to chapter 43 is online there. A couple of my short stories and things like that. And looking to remodel the website, so probably the next month or so, it should have a whole new design to it, and I'll start posting more things on there regularly as well. So you can find me there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Jerale Clebourne, Blerd Together interview. Enjoy the rest of the convention, man.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate the time.